What's up, everybody? Nate here from Out of the Basement, bringing you a brand new action figure review. Today, from Star Wars The Black Series, we are taking a look at Anakin Skywalker from The Phantom Menace. Finally, more prequel figures have arrived, and what I mean by that is non-clone, non-Jedi. You guys know for a long time we've been begging Hasbro to give us actual prequel characters from the movies, not just the clones and Jedi. Don't get me wrong, we do love the clones and Jedi, but we just feel like we need to have a balance with some of the actual characters. So this is super exciting to finally have little Annie here in the line. This is a figure I actually thought we would never get just because of all the turmoil with Jake Lloyd and all that stuff. So it was really surprising to see when they pipelined this figure, and yeah, now we are actually here with it in hand. And so far in the package, he does look pretty damn awesome. Let's take a quick look at the box here. This is in the yellow Phantom Menace Galaxy style packaging. It still has the slant. Got the mural art on the side here, which looks pretty good. I actually think the figure has a little bit better likeness to Jake Lloyd than the mural art does. On the back of the box, we have the bio. If you want to go ahead and pause it, read it now. He is the second figure in the Phantom Menace line behind Jar Jar. And here's the barcode on the bottom. So let's go ahead, get this figure open. We'll take a look at his one and only accessory, and then we'll jump into the figure itself. Here is the backpack up close, which this, of course, is a brand new sculpt. It looks very accurate to what we see in the movie. It's mostly just black plastic here, but you can see there is just a little bit of goldish yellow paint there, which actually mine has a little bit of a QC issue because it overlaps a little too far onto this strap thing right here. I'd imagine this strap could probably be painted a brown or something like that. And I'm sure this buckle probably actually has paint apps on it too, or should be a different color. But yeah, they went with a pretty basic look here, which, you know, this is going to be on the back of the figure, so I definitely understand where they're coming from. But with Anakin being such a small figure, I definitely would have liked to see some more accessories included, especially because typically in the line, when they do a smaller figure, they try and put some more accessories in them. Like Omega comes to mind. Both of her figures actually came with quite a few accessories. And so I wish we could have got to see some other stuff. You know, obviously we could have got the pod racing helmet with Anakin, maybe some random tools. I feel like there's a myriad of other stuff they could have included with Anakin, but yeah, all we got was this backpack. So let's take a look at the actual figure itself. And here is Anakin Skywalker out of the packaging, and this figure does look pretty great. It is a 100% brand new sculpt. The tunic piece itself is an overlay, so I definitely think they've got some future plans for this tiny body. But as you can see, another minor issue with this figure is that I feel like personally, he is just way too clean. When we see Anakin in the movie, he is dirty, gritty, grimy, you know, totally fitting in with the aesthetics of Tatooine. And unfortunately, they pretty much left all types of weathering off of this figure, which I feel like, again, since it's such a small figure, maybe they could have given us a little bit more paint, you know, something to spruce up that value a little bit, because as is, you know, he just kind of looks pretty plain here. It's not a deal breaker for me, as I'm just going to weather the figure up a little bit myself, but I feel like it is worth mentioning again because it is such a small figure. It is full price, and this time around it just seems like they skimped out a little bit here. Let's go ahead and take him off the stand though. We'll get a closer look at the details that we do have on this figure. And up close and personal, you can see that that photoreal head, while it is shiny, I think has a really fantastic likeness to Jake Lloyd. They even got the photoreal freckles on there, which is just a really nice, subtle detail. It's a great sculpt, especially for a child. I would have to imagine sculpting really smooth faces can be rather challenging, so the fact that they nailed it so well here is pretty impressive in my opinion. We do have a nice dark wash in the hair though. That is about the only paint we get on the figure itself, which really helps sell the great sculpting here on the hair itself. Pops out all those wonderful details and the grooves, and that is a really nice touch. I think they did an excellent job with that. The undershirt piece too has just a little bit of paint there, as you can see, and like I said, this piece is a rubber overlay, so I definitely think they've got some plans to use this small body Hopefully that means we can get like Kid Jango Fett. I also would totally be into getting a Padawan Anakin as well from the end of the movie. So I hope maybe we get to see some of that in the near future. Otherwise here we pretty much just have a plain sculpt, but it does look really good. There's nice ruffles and all sorts of fold and textured details on the fabric itself, which gives it a nice look. Of course, the entire figure is a little bit shiny, but I imagine once I hit this with a matte spray, it's going to look really nice and realistic. I think they did a pretty great job here sculpt-wise. You can see we've got some pouches on the belt there with missing paint details, unfortunately. Tie there on the side. We do have a small amount of gold on the belt buckle, which is nice, but again, I just feel like for the size and what we got accessory-wise, we could have got a little bit more paint on this guy. Moving down to the legs, they look great as well. Again, continuing that wonderful sculpted detail that we see throughout the figure. And the boot wraps here just turned out really nice. So as far as articulation goes, Anakin can look up just about that far. He can look down just a little bit. This is on the double neck peg, however, it is mildly restricted. You don't get too much forward, and it doesn't really want to stay, but you do get side-to-side rotation and tilt there as well, so you can definitely get him in some more attitude-driven poses like we see Anakin in that first movie there. And that's pretty much what you're going to have to do with this figure to get some personality out of it. I think it's all going to be in the head and the neck, really. The shoulder can move up about this far, which is pretty standard for Black Series figures here. I can't tell if this has the new barbell joint. It kind of feels like there's a little bit of movement there, but I don't know if I'm just wiggling what open spaces in the socket there. So I'm going to say this probably doesn't have butterfly joints, but it might have the new barbell design that kind of gives it the illusion of a butterfly joint. Single jointed elbows here give you just about 90 degrees, and there is a swivel as well. The hand can rotate around, and it does have a vertical joint on this gripping hand, and the other gripping hand rotates as well and has a horizontal hinge. As far as a crunch goes, you can't really get him to go forward at all, and going back is just a little bit, again, pretty standard for a Black Series figure. That of course means we do get rotation and just a little bit of side to side here, not too much. For the leg itself, it can kick out very far, so here he is with his foot on the ground, and that's a great range of motion there. We have a nice little slit on the side of the tunic, so Anakin can do the splits pretty well here. Can also kick back very far. We do not have thigh swivel, but we do get a little bit of range there from the socket joint. Single jointed knee, that just gives you 90 degrees and has rotation. And then down to the feet, you can get them to go down pretty far. They can go up just a little bit, and he does have peg holes and ankle pivot, although these boot wraps here slightly inhibit the foot articulation. So pretty standard stuff here for a Black Series figure, some modern improvements that we've seen, and some other stuff that's a little bit more old. Personally, I kind of think we should have got maybe some ball jointed wrists to go along with the no thigh swivel. And I think at this point in the game, they probably could have stuffed some butterfly joints into this figure. But it is, at the end of the day, Kid Anakin, so I'm really not looking for a ton of articulation with this figure. Something like this for me is definitely going to just be vanilla posed on the shelf, and I think that's going to serve its purpose, and he looks great from that aspect. And so now, most importantly, when it comes to a child figure, let's check out the scale with some other Phantom Menace figures. First up, here he is with Qui-Gon Jinn and Padawan Obi-Wan Kenobi, and I think they nailed it here. Nice and perfectly scaled with the adults from the movie. We also have the deluxe Jar Jar Binks and that old 2013 archive version of Phantom Menace Darth Maul. Following that up, we've got him with a B-1 battle droid and what he will become in the future, Darth Vader. And last for the comparisons, just for some funsies, I have the Elite Series TC-14. Even though they don't interact in the movie, this is one of the only other Phantom Menace figures that I own. And I would love it if Hasbro actually did this version. But alas, the Elite Series will have to do for the time being. Balance is also on point with little Annie here. Just hitting a quick running pose. You know how I like to do it. And so there you have it. There was my review of little Anakin Skywalker from the Phantom Menace. This is a figure that I'm ultimately very happy to own. I have the backpack on upside down. There are definitely minor nitpicks to be had. The overall lack of paint and accessories is definitely an issue worth noting, especially with this being such a small figure. But for me personally, I wanted to support a brand new prequel character figure as soon as it came out, because this is what I want. I want more prequel characters that aren't just clone troopers and Jedi to really flesh out the prequel displays. So for me personally, this is a huge step in the right direction, something that we've wanted on the channel for a long time. So even with those minor nitpicks, I would definitely recommend picking this figure up, especially if you are a prequel fan. We have to support the things we want in the line. It is unfortunate that this is a full-priced figure, but it is what it is. So I definitely would recommend picking this one up if you are a prequel trilogy fan, because even with those minor nitpicks, he's still gonna look pretty damn awesome on the shelf. So there you have it. I hope you enjoyed my review. If you did, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe if you are new. We're always talking about Star Wars The Black Series here on the channel. Big shout out and special thank you to all of our current channel members. Your continued support is truly appreciated. And thank you to everyone else out there for watching. I'm Nate from Out of the Basement, and I will see you next time.